It's happening, folks. America's nukes breached, Moscow on fire, and now everyone's asking the same question. Are we next? In just 48 hours, China launched a covert cyber attack on our nuclear command systems, and they got in. This is not a drill. This is not a movie. They hacked deep into our National Nuclear Security Administration, the very agency that guards our stockpile. And, well, while we were still reeling from that breach, Ukraine unleashed 200 drones into Moscow's airspace, shutting down airports, disrupting Russia's war machine, and sending a direct message to Putin, you're not safe anymore. So here's the terrifying truth. Both of the world's most dangerous powers, China and Russia, are being tested. And Trump's America, it might be the only thing that's standing between order and total collapse. But here's the kicker. You're going to see exactly why some experts are saying that these two events are not random. In fact, they are strategically linked, and that what comes next may target you. It might target your power, your food, or even your peace. So we're going to talk about why some insiders believe that this was a deliberate attack of war by China, why Ukrainian drones are now flying deeper than ever, and what President Trump just told Zelensky behind closed doors. Oh, and of course, what Russian state TV just said out loud about burning Ukrainian cities to the ground using illegal weapons banned by international law. Now, do not blink, do not scroll, because if you think that things are heating up in Moscow, wait until you see what is about to happen here. So I want to go ahead and break it down, all right? By the way, if you appreciate the daily news updates, please hit the like button and subscribe. Appreciate you guys. So let's start with what should have triggered every emergency alarm in Washington. China just breached America's nuclear nerve center. Not just any system, the National Nuclear Security Administration, the very agency that is responsible for modernizing, maintaining, and protecting our nuclear arsenal. And how did they get in? Through a zero-day vulnerability in Microsoft SharePoint. That's right, guys. A document sharing platform used inside some of the most secure government departments on Earth. Let me say that again. Beijing didn't even need to launch a missile. They just logged in. And according to Microsoft thieves, according to Microsoft themselves, this wasn't just some random hack. This was state-sponsored, coordinated, and precise. So I got to ask you guys, should we be more afraid of a missile or more afraid of a login screen? And so here's where it gets even more intense. President Trump immediately convened the National Cyber Command. And you better believe he's not just talking. His administration has already greenlit massive cyber defense reinforcements and retaliation frameworks because he understands something that Biden never did. When a foreign power breaches your nuclear systems, that's not espionage. That is a digital act of war. So what happens next? What if they're already in systems that we haven't found yet? You see, it doesn't stop with nukes, because the real depth of this breach, that's where we got to go next. This wasn't just a hit on one agency. Microsoft and cybersecurity partners are now confirming the breach has reached over 400 government and institutional servers worldwide. Inside the United States, we're talking about the Department of Energy, National Institutes of Health, Florida's Department of Revenue, even the Rhode Island General Assembly. Let that sink in, okay? China didn't just want access to bombs. They wanted access to our health records, social security numbers, tax infrastructure, and our legislative systems. And so here's probably what's going to make your skin crawl. Microsoft admits hackers stole authentication keys, the digital equivalent of ID badges, meaning they can impersonate U.S. servers, personnel, and even departments. So let me ask you, do you believe nothing classified was stolen? Seriously, guys, I want to hear from you. Or are we just being told or are we just being told what we want to hear or what they want us to believe? Because if China can spoof government credentials, what can't they do? Right? Could they reroute military orders? Could they redirect missile defense systems? Pose as U.S. officials in foreign negotiations? This could get really dangerous here, guys. We do not know the limits yet, but President Trump's cybersecurity task force is now working around the clock to audit every exposed system. Now, here's the scariest part. Some experts are saying this breach may have started back on July 7th, meaning Chinese operatives may have had 3 full weeks inside of our nuclear infrastructure before we even noticed. Now think about that, right? And now, while America scrambles to reinforce its digital walls, Russia is burning. Moscow is under siege by swarms of drones. Airports are being shut down. Citizens are in panic. And that's what we're going to go ahead and break down next. Now, I partnered with Chapter because they treat every person like family, and the results speak for themselves. Carolyn told us that Chapter literally saved her from $4,000 in unexpected medical bills. And Leslie Taylor, she's saving $1,000 a year. This is not some special favor. They just looked at her coverage, they explained her options, and they found her something better. There's no gimmicks, there's no pressure, just real help from real human beings who actually care. Guys, you could be sitting on a better plan right now and you might not even know it. To find out, it's totally free, only takes a few seconds. Give our friends a Chapter a call. Phone numbers down below, 909-563-8279, or visit them on the web at askchapter.org/Ron. Listen, if you're on Medicare or you're about to be, do not wait until it's too late. Let Chapter guide you like they've helped so many people already. And so, while America's nuclear defenses were under digital assault, Russia's capital city was under literal attack. In just 48 hours, Ukraine launched over 200 drones deep into Moscow's airspace, a scale and intensity that Russia had not seen since the war began. The result? 10 separate airports shut down in one day. More than 200,000 passengers were stranded. Moscow's skies filled with the sound of sirens and explosions. You heard that right, guys. 200,000 travelers, that is 1 in every 10 Russians who fly, brought to their knees by Ukraine's drone war. Now, this wasn't just about disruption. Ukraine crippled major logistics routes, shut down military rail hubs, and hit manufacturing plants directly connected to Putin's war machine. This wasn't just a strike. This was a message. If you bring a war to us, we're going to bring it to your doorstep. So now the question is Ukraine justified in targeting Moscow itself? Or are we witnessing the opening shots of something far more dangerous, a direct hit on the psyche of a nuclear-armed enemy? Because the last time that a capital city was this vulnerable, the world changed. And this time, well, they're not doing it alone because something shifted quietly but decisively. And that's where President Trump comes in. So let's go ahead and be blunt here. President Trump, he took back the White House. Ukraine's hands were tied, okay? But they were told, don't strike too deep. Don't provoke Russia. Don't go after regime targets. That was Biden's leash. That was the Obama doctrine, restraint and caution while the world burns. But Trump, he took one look at Putin's terror campaign, China's aggression, and Ukraine's desperation, and he cut the leash. According to multiple sources, President Trump told Zelensky directly, if you got the weapons, use them. Hit harder, hit deeper. And Zelensky's response, if we have the weapons, we can do whatever you need. Wow. Now, this wasn't just battlefield strategy. This was a shift in global posture. No more playing defense. No more fighting with one hand behind your back. No more treating aggressors like they're like rational actors. Trump understands what weak leaders didn't. You don't win wars by holding back. You win them by making the enemy regret ever starting one. And if Putin's watching Moscow burn while China's watching their oil market come under threat, this is not by accident. This is actually by design. And as Moscow burned, Putin, he did what he always does, panicked, overreacted, and hurt his own people. In an effort to shoot down incoming Ukrainian drones, Russian air defense systems fired missiles into the sky, but the debris didn't vanish. It fell straight into civilian neighborhoods. We're talking about apartment buildings reduced to rubble, not by Ukrainian strikes, but by Russian rockets exploding above their own people. Why? Because Russia's air defense was never built to defend Russia's heartland. It was built to control weaker nations. And so now that the battlefield has come home, Putin's defenses are doing more harm than good. So can Putin even protect his own citizens anymore? Or is he the biggest threat inside Russia's borders? Let me ask you this. If America's air defense misfired and flattened a U.S. neighborhood, what would happen to that president? Because in Russia, the people suffer in silence or they disappear. And yet, somehow it gets even worse because while Putin's missiles are killing his own, his drones are doing something far more sinister abroad. Now, according to Ukrainian defense experts, the latest wave of Shahed drones launched by Russia, they were equipped with napalm, or at least napalm-like incendiary warheads. Think about this, guys. Russia is now using drones to ignite entire neighborhoods with illegal fire bombs. This is a tactic pulled straight from history's darkest pages. This isn't speculation. Electronic warfare specialists confirmed the warheads contained a liquid incendiary that burns through sand, spreads on contact, and cannot be extinguished. These weapons violate Protocol 3 of the 1980 UN Convention on Conventional Weapons. They're banned. Russia signed it, and they're ignoring it because they just don't care. Guys, we're not in the jungle of Vietnam. These are million-person cities, and entire blocks are being drenched in fire. Civilian apartment buildings, public infrastructure, no military targets in sight. This isn't war. It's arson. It's terrorism, and the world knows it. And yet the global media, they're silent. The UN, toothless. But President Trump already drafting sanctions, already calling it out, already preparing the next move. So, if you want to know what Putin is really planning, don't just watch what he says. Watch what his media mouthpieces are being told to say. Now, on Kremlin-controlled state TV, one panelist went full mask off. He said, and I quote, "We must launch massive strikes against Ukraine's power generation facilities, thermal plants, oil refineries, fuel depots. Take them out before enemy intelligence even sees it coming." This wasn't just a theory. This was a blueprint for obliterating an entire country's infrastructure. And what was the justification? It worked for NATO and Yugoslavia. So why can't we scale it against Ukraine? Think about that, guys. Russia is literally citing Western tactics from the 1990s to justify a 21st century war crime. Guys, they're not hiding it. They're broadcasting it. And why now? Why this level of desperation? Because they know what's coming. Trump's sanctions. So here's a playbook. President Trump just dropped on the world, okay? 100% tariffs on any country buying Russian oil. That means China, India, Brazil, all of whom prop up Putin's economy by purchasing dirt cheap crude. They will now be forced to make a decision. Choose the American market or Putin's blood oil. And let's be crystal clear here. Putin can survive sanctions. He can ignore soldier deaths, but he can't survive if his biggest customers walk away because 80% of Russia's war budget is funded by these oil sales. Trump's plan? Cut off the funding before cutting off the threat. Makes sense, right? And this is exactly what's happening right now. Deals are collapsing. Partners are hesitating. Even India is quietly pivoting toward American natural gas deals because Trump's tariffs don't just punish enemies. They force so-called allies to pick a side. And when they do, Putin's empire starts to crumble from the inside out. Now, I know we covered a lot tonight. China hacked our nuclear systems, walked right through the front door of America's most sensitive infrastructure. Ukraine just crippled Moscow, turning Russia's capital into a war zone of smoke and fear. And under President Trump, the global balance of power, it's shifting hard. But here's the part that nobody wants to say out loud. The next target won't be a war zone. The next missile won't be obvious. The next enemy strike could be right here in your water supply, your power grid, your financial records, your social security number, your home. We're already under attack, not with tanks, with code, with drones, with gas pipelines and satellite jammers and AI generated propaganda. This isn't coming. It's already here. And so now it's your turn to choose. Do you believe China's breach was an act of war? Just type yes or no in the comments right now. Do you believe that we're safer with President Trump leading this country through the storm? Type Trump if you stand with strength. And should Ukraine push even deeper into Russian territory now that they finally have American support? Tell me, fight or restrain? I'm going to be watching the comments myself, guys, because at the end of the day, this is about one thing. Will Americans, or more importantly, will America stand tall before the next blow lands? Or are we going to wait until it's too late? So while China hits our nukes and Ukraine lights up Moscow, you got to ask yourself, America's next or America's ready? President Trump is already moving the pieces. He's securing our digital systems. He's choking off Putin's funding. He's empowering our allies to strike back hard, fast, and without apology, because he knows if you don't stop the fire when it's in the distance, you'll be choking on smoke when it reaches your door. So if you're sick of weak leadership, if you're tired of the lies, if you want the truth loud and clear, smash the like button so that this message breaks through the censorship. Subscribe and turn on notifications so that you're never caught off guard again. And drop your thoughts in the comments down below right now, guys. And do not go anywhere, because YouTube thinks that this next video is exactly what you need to see next. And they're probably right. So check it out and I'll see you there. Hey, by the way, guys, if you're one of the real ones who really enjoy what we do here on the channel, you've got to check out the Inner Circle. This is where our true supporters get exclusive access to content that I just can't share here, completely commercial free. It's also the best way to keep this channel going strong. So if you want to be a part of something special, join us over there. Links in the description or in the pinned comment down below.